Drop it, bitch.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Podcast coming at you with my recap and reactions of the round of 32 of the NCAA tournament. And, of course, got to bring you my predictions also for the Sweet 16s. Again, just like I capped off on Saturday when I gave you my reactions and my breakdowns regarding the first round, the round of 64. Again, it just flabbergasted. Been watching the tournament now since I was a very young buck, and since like early 90s, man. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a tournament where we had this many low seeds. And when I mean low seeds, I'm not talking about like fives and six. But like I said, I haven't even figured out how many low seeds, like ones and twos, have actually been eliminated this quickly. So and it was no difference in 64 than it is on round of 32. Great for content, really bad for my pocket because I am not hitting any bettings at all. I'm not hitting any bets at all. A few here and there, man, but not as much. And my brackets are all completely destroyed right now as we speak. Without further ado, anyway, let's go ahead and give you the recap of the round of 32 here. And let's start with the South. Alabama is looking strong. Look, Alabama has been able to manhandle every single opponent like they should in the first two rounds, being the favorite, being number one seed right now. Alabama's been able to completely annihilate and shoot down everybody. See what I did there? 96-75, 73-51 the second round. And they're going to move on to face San Diego State. San Diego State has looked strong, man. Look, they've actually one of the fifth seeds that have been able to handle business. It was a close game against Charleston in the first round of 64. But look, they handled Furman. Furman, who was the Cinderella of the first round, taking down fake Virginia. But they came down and destroyed like they were supposed to. Furman 75 to 52, which that's what you're supposed to do when you're in the fifth seed. Again, great day for San Diego. They're going to go against Alabama. San Diego is a good team. San Diego actually struggled this year a little bit and made it there. But a couple of years ago, during the bubble and the pandemic, San Diego was prime to be the top team and favorite to win the NCAA championship. And believe it or not, it was like, if it wasn't for the pandemic, when they shut the bubble down, San Diego had the best team around. So I think they have something to prove from a couple of years ago. And they are looking serious. Don't get me wrong. They had an easy second rounder against Furman, who's not supposed to be there, but they handled business. So Alabama against San Diego, Bama should handle this one, even though I've been saying this for other matchups. But I think Alabama should be able to handle this one and take them out, regardless of the fact. Here we go. We got Creighton in the round of 32 against Baylor. Creighton, man, they're for real. They're for real. They're gonna give they got to make the Elite Eight because I think the Magic has to run out for Princeton soon. But anyway, we'll touch that. They really beat Baylor very, very convincingly. I mean, it was an it was a kind of up and back battle until the second half when Creighton completely shut Baylor down. They're big, they're huge up front, and they use that size to absolutely manhandle Baylor. Baylor, another disappointing lower seed, but this is not so much of an upset. This could have gone either way when Creighton actually was a tough out always. Princeton against Missouri. Princeton right now is the Cinderella story. They beat Arizona, fake number 2, but then they destroyed Missouri in the second round. This kid's from Princeton, a.k.a. Hoosiers, because every time I watch Princeton play, it reminds me of the movie Hoosiers. Remember Hoosiers back in the day? Just like that, man. A lot of fundamentally sound kids, backdoor cuts. But one thing about this game, they were shooting the lights out, man. They were hitting threes all over the place against Missouri. The game was not even close. I mean, Princeton looked like a freaking powerhouse and against Missouri. So, right now, Princeton against Creighton, the magic has to stop. I think Creighton is going to be one of those teams that's big up front, and it's going to slow it down for Princeton, who's actually that's the reason why they've been able to play so well. Transition play from Princeton, and also they're hitting that three in that second game. They were hitting everything. It was one of those things that the bucket was as big, was as big as the ocean because they were hitting everything. They were hitting every single thing, and they were shooting the lights out. But honestly, I think it's going to be. I think Creighton is going to stop the Cinderella run for Princeton. It is what it is, man. You know, the last time I think an Ivy League team was Cornell in 2010, I think, or 2020. I forget what year, but they were the last one to make the Sweet 16, or the only one ever to make the Sweet 16, for that matter. The good thing, you know, like I said, Princeton, man, all these Ivy Leaguers, man, they already got a job secure when they get out of college, man. They don't need the NBA to be successful. Everybody else does, not the Princeton dudes. All right, going back, the FU matchup, FDU against FAU, two teams that had great games in the first round. Fairleigh Dickinson, run is over. Fake Purdue, who has lost to a 13 seed, a 15 seed, and now a 16 seed in 3 consecutive years, 13, 15, and 16. Fairleigh Dickinson went against the FAU Owls. Shout out to Boca Raton over here in South Florida. Boom, the Owls, baby. Woo, woo. I don't even know what an owl sounds like. But 78-70, it was a convincing victory. The FAU, man, they're like the first time I think they made the tournament, and now is the first time they made the Sweet 16. And this team has been playing really good. This coach, whoever the coach is, I keep forgetting his name. It's gonna be the hottest recruited coach this offseason because FAU has been another Cinderella story. Even though they have they won like 30 games this year, they still were able to. Nobody thought they were going to make it past the first round. Past Memphis. Moving back to Duke and Drake, disappointed with Duke. I thought Duke was going to be a better showing. I thought Duke was going to be able to provide a better showing here, and honestly, it's disappointing. It's really disappointing. So the fact that Duke it's not doing better, and I thought they were gonna come in hot and make a run here. Honestly, not at all. Not at all. I'm disappointed. Tennessee played hard. I think Tennessee outmanned them. They were pushing their centers around. They were really pushing Duke's front court like there was no tomorrow. And look, the better team, the tougher team won. And one thing about Duke, right? Duke has the history of their blue bloods, right? And, John Shire's first season, big shoes to fill after Mike Krzyzewski retired. And round one, they came to work and did business. They won the last 9 games. They won the ACC title. They were looking to prime for a run. But again, it's one of those things that as much as John Shire has seen this and in the bench as an assistant coach next to Coach K for so many years, it's a different story when you actually have to coach, when you have to actually when you're the man calling the shots. So John Shire had himself a snap back to reality kind of moment, being the man at the helm and, suffering a loss. But I think he's, the only way you get better as a coach, and it happens to all the best, is you need the reps. It's different than when you're sitting next to the great one, then taking the seat of the great one, and that's what happened here. He was outplayed by Tennessee. Tennessee came and outmatched and out-toughed Duke. They pushed them around like little bitches, and Duke could not man up enough to bang with Tennessee. Now, Tennessee and the Cinderella Owls here, the FAU Owls. Shout out to Boca Raton, baby, again. Tennessee's tough. They're very tough. They're very tough, and I think the Cinderella story and the gravy train stops here for FAU, and I honestly think that Tennessee should be able to manhandle FAU as easy or easier than they did Duke. They have a lot of size, they have a lot of bangers down low, and they should be able to take this without a problem. So, all right, let's move on to the next recap here. Let's see who we have. We got Kentucky and Kansas. Kansas State, man. We knew Kentucky was an outside shot here, and certainly so. Kansas played really well, and it was a close game. It was a goal claim to out, but Kansas pulled it off. And I think Kansas against Michigan State, who upset Marquette, 69-60. I mean, come on, man. This is March. Tom Izzo is for Izzo in March, my friends. Okay, for Izzo Manizzo, Izzo in March, for real. He's the real deal, man. He's been there before, has championships, pedigree. You cannot play a Michigan State coached by one of the greatest coaches of all time, all right, in the NCAA, and you cannot come in soft like that. And even though it was a good game, it was a close game, but Michigan just out outplayed them, and Izzo outcoached them, and they just kind of tailed off to in the second half. So shout out to Coach Izzo, man, Tom Izzo. He's for Shizzo, baby. Uh, Michigan State and Kansas State. Look, I'm gonna go Michigan State on this one. I am on the Izzo train, baby, for Rios. I am on the Izzo train, and I think we have Michigan State. It's gonna take Kansas State over in the next round. Let's move over to the West bracket. I mean, the Midwest bracket, the West bracket here. Houston and Auburn. Houston, just like Alabama, has been doing what they're supposed to be doing and annihilating every single opponent here. They had a iffy showing in against North Kentucky, but they redeemed themselves. They absolutely redeemed themselves and played a really good Auburn team and beat a good Auburn team. They're playing Miami in the Sweet 16, and Miami came and handled business against Indiana. Drake played Miami tough, and Miami's playing with one of their best players hurt, so he's not even playing. But they put up 85 points against Indiana, and they did some work. They did some work against Indiana, and honestly, it was you know they played pretty much. They held the lead throughout the game, and it wasn't even it was close in the first half. Then after that, they pulled away in the second half. So yeah, I mean Miami and Houston, it's going to be a tough matchup here. Um, but I think Houston should be able to manhandle this, and I will give them a quick takes there at the end. Houston should be able to take this. The gravy train stops here for Miami. Nice story. FAU and Miami, they're 50 miles apart from each other. Florida Atlantic is in Boca Raton. Miami is in city of Miami, Coral Gables. So therefore, it's nice to have two of these Florida teams, two South Florida teams. And I'm a New Yorker, but I'm a transplant in South Florida who've been here down for a while. So it's nice. It's a nice story. It's a very nice story that two South Florida teams have been in the Sweet 16 for the first time, and I think ever. I think it might be ever. All right, Pittsburgh, and we have Pittsburgh and Xavier. Xavier played tough. Pittsburgh played really tough, first of all, and they trailed at one point, but Xavier was able to clamp it down and bring it back. And I got to face Texas in the Sweet 16. Texas was so themselves trailing at one point against Penn State. Penn State almost pulled this one off. Now, moving on to Texas and Penn State, look, I think Texas is going to have a tough matchup against Xavier, but Xavier is a tough team. They're long. They're long up front. And but I'm picking Texas to win because that's who I have winning it all. So therefore, they're going to win. Texas, the Longhorns, baby, let's go. Arkansas, man, come on, man. The coach, that guy is classic. Musburger, I think that's his name. This dude has been coaching for so long, man. Took off his shirt, flexing out there, and they deserve it because Kansas has probably had the best opportunity to win back-to-back championships was this year because the field is not stern and is weak, and they lost to Arkansas, man. They had this game under control, and Arkansas just had a bigger heart and came back. Like their coach, the Arkansas coach said, I keep forgetting his name, which I shouldn't because he was all over the place this weekend, is they could beat anybody at any time, but they could also be beaten by anybody at any time. And this time they showed a lot more heart. They were more resilient and came back. UConn and St. Mary's, UConn dominated. St. Mary's, it was not even a contest, bro. The pedigree was over and above. And UConn, has been blowing teams out. They've won now by double digits. They won here by 15. They beat Iona by 24. They're looking unstoppable, right? But I think they won't be able to do that to Arkansas, man. I think Arkansas can pull this upset off and keep riding. Shout out to Jordan Thomas, who has my co-host in the Weekly Throwdown every Thursday on the Factory Sports Corp. Shout out to him who picked Arkansas to hit the Final Four, man. I know he's a homer because that's where he lives right now. But, hey, I think Arkansas is going to pull this off and upset UConn, University of Connecticut. TCU and Gonzaga, back and forth battle, but the Zags are just gritty, man. The Zags every year in the Sweet 16, every year they might make it to the Elite Eight, and they beat a tough TCU team who can battle and scrap it out at any time, right? So they're going to the Sweet 16. UCLA and Northwestern, tough game. UCLA again, they're looking proper. They're looking proper, and they beat a tough Northwestern team. Usually in the second round, Zags and UCLA, And I'm gonna go back and recap all the predictions for the Sweet 16. I think the Zags are tougher, and I think the Zags are built for this time of year. They have the experience. They traveled long last year. They always go deep into the run into the tournament, and they're gonna make the Elite Eight. I think they're gonna be able to outdo all the Bruins. All right, let me go back here. UConn and Arkansas. Like I mentioned, I think Arkansas is gonna pull the upset. Texas. I got Texas against Xavier. Tough matchup, but Texas is gonna edge out Xavier. Houston and Miami, no contest. I think Houston it's going to keep dominating. Bama and San Diego. San Diego has been playing good basketball, man. But you know what? They got a cream puff in Furman who should have never made it. All right, past the first round if it wasn't for a stupid bonehead play by the Virginia coach, not calling timeout when the trap his player. Again, Alabama should be able to dominate, win by 10. We have Creighton and Princeton. Man, the storyline for the Princeton Tigers, the Ivy Leaguers, bro. It'll stop here. I think Creighton is so tough. They slap Baylor around. Princeton should stop. The run is going to stop here for sure. This is a guaranteed. Creighton is beating Princeton. FAU, Florida Atlantic University against Tennessee. Tennessee is show me that they are one of the toughest teams around. How they manhandle and slap Duke front line like a bunch of little bitches. Tennessee should not have a problem in manhandling the front line and that team from FAU and get a sure-handed win here. Kansas State and Michigan. I am sticking with IZZO because when it's March, he is for Shizzo, baby. Tom Izzo is March. So Michigan State with the upset over Kansas State. Pretty much what I got for you guys. I appreciate everybody watching. Check me out on Thursday on my new show in the Fantasy Sports Network, Corporation Network YouTube channel with Jordan Thomas as we hit the top trending topics in sports in a battle style clash. We compete against each other, but we give you the best takes and our best insights on the top trending topics. We had a huge debut last Thursday, and it's going to be Thursday after Thursday. This week, we're actually not live, but we will have a recorded show a day late. We have a couple of conflicts with schedule, but we're still going to give you great content, bro. Tune in on Thursday. The show is going to be up on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. The weekly throwdown with me and Jordan Thomas from the Truth Serum and the only Fantasy Sports Corp YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This is your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Podcast, signing out. Peace.